Okay, so this is the online teaching meeting, online and hybrid teaching meeting. There we go. So the things that you know, of course, this is summer 2023. And those of you that have been teaching for us for very long, you know that summer is shorter typically than the rest of the terms, a total of 12 weeks. However, and here's a distinction that the very first thing that you need to be aware of. Global college courses that support global college degrees. Did you catch that? Global college courses that support global college degrees are still 8 weeks. But there are some courses that are 4 and 5 week courses. So the first distinction is that there are some that are 8 weeks and some that are 4 and 5 weeks. The ones that are 8 weeks are the ones that are for global college degrees. The rest are supportive of the whole institution. The next designation that you need to be aware of is there are actually 4 different kinds of courses when you look on the registration page. Of course, there's the traditional course where you sit in a classroom, and those would be designated with a TR. The next one is a hybrid, and that says hybrid. And then there's OLA and OLS. Used to be just OL. Now the OLA stands for online asynchronous, and the OLS stands for, drum roll, online synchronous. And this is what it looks like. So you'll notice in the top one, by the way, this is straight out of this summer's course schedule. In the top one, you'll see, let's see here, online, right in the middle of that top section, it says 100% online. It's still 100% online, but this is synchronous instructional method. You'll notice the bottom part says 100% online, but it says asynchronous instructional method. So here's where we've seen some issues. When faculty go in to teach their course and they say, we're going to have a class session on Mondays at 3:00 p.m. And yet on the course schedule, it will say asynchronous instructional method. That shouldn't happen. So that when a student registers for a course, they should notice it's 100% online. If it's synchronous, then it will have a time and a day associated with it. If it is 100% online and asynchronous, that means you'll see down there at the very bottom, it has TBA, online, and then, well, the instructors is TBA because we don't have one. But anyway, that means it is an asynchronous online course. All right, that's that. Now here's the part that we really want to get across. First of all, the student experience, the things that are beyond the SLOs. First of all, anybody teaching online, the online faculty training, and I heard some of you are doing that right now. The online faculty training, or OFT as we call it, it's required. If you're going to teach online, we want you to go through OFT. And the reason why is because it gives you the basic knowledge of what it means to be teaching online. And then if you're going to be developing courses to be taught online, whether it's 16 weeks, 8 weeks, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 days, whatever, we would recommend that you take our OCD course. That's online course design. And by the way, I was just in a meeting today where we were talking about the intentionality that is required to build a course and teach a course online. It does take a little bit of OCD, a little bit of obsessive compulsive, not the disorder part, but to be engaged with the course. In every course, there is a section in the modules that has faculty helps in it. In there, you'll see a link to a faculty training that gives you some ideas about how to build a course using Canvas. If you are starting, if you're going to be starting to teach a course this summer, and you don't have time to get in the OFT, it already started last week actually, so you'd be behind a week. We would highly recommend you take this course that we call the Quick Start Faculty Training. It will give you just enough tools to make sure that you know how to teach online. Um, give you a little bit of knowledge about how to use Canvas, give you the very basics so that you can do this next part, which is what we're calling the executive pages and our minimum standards. So, all right, so the executive pages that need to be posted, we call these our minimum standards, and that is the home landing page. We've put some quote default language, but it's not lorem ipsum. It's actual information, that basic information that your students will need to know. So what we've designed that to be is to kind of be a little hint that you need to go back in there and fill that out to make it a welcoming landing page for your students so that they know you really do exist and that you're expecting them in your classroom. We also look for the syllabus, contact information, the means of assessment, and clear instructions with correct dates. Now, the syllabus, we would like for you to use the syllabus page. There's a page in Canvas that's called syllabus, and it has dates associated with it. So if you have assignments, your PDF or your Word doc shows up at the top as a link, but then at the bottom, it will show all of the dates associated with the course. So if you've used um, the assignments or discussions and you put due dates, they'll show up there. This is really helpful for your students because it allows them to track with what they're doing, with what comes next. So please keep that in mind. Those dates are useful. It may be boring for you or maybe not useful for you, but it is very useful for your students.
Hey
The
Dale, can I
contact,
interject? Oh, sorry.
please.
Can I interject there for a second about that page?
Sure.
This is Kyle, folks. Some faculty don't like it because as you're building your course, if you've carried over and imported a couple times, you may have some unpublished assessments that aren't a part of your current course. Those are going to show up on the syllabus page, but only in the faculty view. If you click the student view up on top on that syllabus page, you'll see exactly what the student sees, and it won't be nearly as messy. And if it is, it's a sign that you've got to go into assignments or quizzes and actually unpublish some of that material, because students will be able to see it. But just don't be afraid of that. It's going to look messy from a faculty point of view, but not from a student point of view if you have unpublished and published the correct assignments and quizzes and so forth, if that makes sense.
Good. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, good points. The contact information, your students need to be able to get a hold of you. And by the way, let me just put a little pause here. I don't have this information anywhere in here, but one of the things that I've seen, believe it or not, is that some of our faculty say, sure, I'll have office hours, and they will be at 3:00 p.m. on Thursday afternoons. Folks, most of our students that are taking online classes are working during the day. So if you put a 3:00 p.m. office hours, you're probably not going to have anybody sign up to meet with you. So just a word of caution, make sure that you're accessible. Whatever that looks like, make sure that you're accessible. Obviously, means of assessment, you know what that is. Clear instructions with correct dates. Please go through your course before the term begins and make sure that your dates are correct. We do go through all of the courses that are online, whether they are global college degree courses or global college campus type courses. We still go through every online and every hybrid course. And we'll check to see if the dates are correct or close. And if they're not, we'll just send you a quick email and say, yeah, you might want to check this out. We're not we're not looking to be punitive or anything like that. We want to put our best our best foot forward. So make sure that you have clear instructions with correct dates. Student experience, we're still thinking about what does this mean? Well, there's the interaction is expected. So what does that look like? Well, faculty to student, obviously, if you're in a physical classroom, the faculty to student part we get, right? So standing in front of the class, I'm lecturing and they get that. But there's also the reverse side, which Henry Nouwen tells that faculty should be learning from the students, and we can do that. So this interaction isn't just a one-way street. It's a two-way street where faculty get to really get to participate in the course, even as the students do. Interaction is expected. And by the way, another little comma, it is within our SAC COC expectations that there is faculty to student, student to faculty, student to student interaction. One more little comma. Eventually, soon, we're going to have another little presentation. Maybe it will be a part of a training, or it may even be a whole training that our latest minted Dr. Chantel Bryant, will be talking about this whole idea of interaction. It is called transactional distance. You'll want to stay tuned for that because it is um, educationally not just invigorating, it is educationally changing. Um, expecting that interaction. It's really good. Okay, enough of that commercial. If you see Chantel, give her congratulations. Dr. Bryant. Engagement. Engagement in course with students. Don't just post a course and then run off and leave it. Be a part of the course. That's what we want to see. And that's when your students really get to know you and can interact with you. Again, back to the office hours, specific time that you can set aside for students to drop in. You can set that up even in, I just lost the name, Starfish. There we go. Even in Starfish, set it up there so that your students can have access to you on a regular basis. Drop-ins are helpful. Check your course. Check the links and the dates to make sure that they're accurate. There's nothing worse than to have a student contact you and say, this is summer 2023, and this link says January 2021. Obviously, we're not that far off, but it may be. Check your course to make sure that your dates are accurate. Make sure that your pages load properly. That the buttons, if you have the buttons at the bottom, make sure that those load properly. That the content is relevant and accessible. It would be wise to have clear connections and links, not necessarily physical links, but some way to point at the SLOs to say, this assignment helps you learn this student learning outcome. Consider putting time to complete. How much time do you think it will take to complete this assignment or even this reading assignment? We have a help that we're willing to share with you that can help you figure out how much time you should expect on a normal, regular basis for someone on a average basis to complete an assignment, whatever that would be. So check with CDI. We'll be happy to help you with that. Class preparation. Send a welcome message to your students before the first week. So if you're starting here on June the 5th, then sometime next week, send a quick little message to your students, just welcoming them to the class, explaining what you're expecting to do that very first week. You have a little shortened time, so you want to hit them quickly so that you can get moving quickly. Beyond that, it would just be a good way to let your students know that you are going to be there and that you're waiting on them to get there. So a little bit of a welcome message before they come. Set up the welcome message in the classroom in that space on the homepage. Read your syllabus. Make sure that you're ready, and then tell your students to read your syllabus. Of course, you all do that, but sometimes I'm afraid our students get a little bit lost in there. So make sure that they know that the expectation is to read your syllabus. I have even done this, and I know others that have done a little quiz on the syllabus. That's points, not devastating points, but a few points, just so that students will know that they need to read the syllabus. That may be a little bit um, elementary, but it may be worth a try. Also, in that message that you send to your students, tell them to order their books. They need to have those ready and available at the first day of class. If they are in the e-Follett, make sure that they are aware that they can register for those books and get them electronically. Lorene, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it in chat, but if you want to tell them, they should be looking for an email that says e-Follett if they want to search for their textbook. A lot of times they got the email right after they registered, which they might have registered for your summer class back in, I don't know, March or whenever things opened up for summer. So it might be way back in their email. So they need to search, and e-Follett will help them, or they can contact the bookstore. And I do want to also say we've had some, you might want to check the version of the book that you're using to make sure it is the same one that the students are using. We have had problems where an instructor is using an older version than the one that comes with e-Follett that is coming to the students, and then they're not on the same page with assignments. And so you could contact the bookstore if they're, to get the newer version. And here's the email for Latasha. I just forgot her last name, but she's the new bookstore manager, and that's the best email to reach her. Or email us if you're having some problems and you need us to reach out to the bookstore.
Good. Thank you, Lorene. Appreciate that. So make sure that you tell your students you need to order your books. If they're not going to use e-Follett, they need to order them however best they can. So make sure that they are aware of that. Now, what do we look at for faculty experience?
Oh, we have a question.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Maybe it was me by mistake. I raised the hand.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
accidental.
Okay.
Not intentional. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No problem.
you actually reminded me is that if you're not, some adjuncts may not be aware about e-Follett all access, and that students are automatically enrolled in e-Follett and pay $23 per credit hour. That's automatically billed to them. They have to opt out of it. So if they have not opted out, all students should be enrolled and should have their required resources for your course.
Okay, so what can you expect from us? So anytime that you contact us, that is us, CDI, anytime you contact us, you should know, and by the way, CDI and Global College, sorry about that. You should know that we are going to do our best to get a live and quick response. Also, we do what I've already described. We do this thing that we call the pre-semester check. So we go into every course to make sure that they're set up, that they're ready. To be honest, I get a little bit of sweaty palms because some, not many, some wait until either the night before at 10 or 11 o'clock at night before the semester begins, or at 8 that next morning to actually populate their course. That just gives some of us heartburn. If you would like to save our health, we would appreciate you populating your course and getting it set up, at least started to set up before the term begins. We do this pre-semester check. We try to hit it the day the classes begin. We found courses that didn't even have instructors in them, but had students, and we've been able to not fix it, but we've contacted the deans, the chairs, and gotten a faculty member in that course. So we check the courses to make sure that they're ready. We also have a lot of training opportunities, and we're building them out. We have some others that we're going to begin working on very soon. So stay tuned for that. We have several that we've done in the past. We're happy for you to look at those, and we'll provide you access to any of those. Lorraine, you're going to kill me. What's our website address? CBU.
cbudigital.org.
There you go, cbudigital.org, and you can look there for the training opportunities that we have. Also, check the newsletter that we send out, CBU Next. We list their training opportunities as well. What do we expect from you? We expect the courses that you put online to be developed at the highest recognized standard. Here's the deal. If you're teaching in a physical traditional classroom, you will put your best foot forward. So when you teach online, we expect those courses to be equally good, highest recognized standard. We want you to be prepared, so faculty preparedness is part of it. Making sure that you're ready, equipped as good as you can be, that you have the software that you need when you need it, the books are ready, everything is ready, just as you would for a physical class. The course population that it is set up the way that you need it to be set up, ready for you. Now, sometimes you're given a course late, and so you're having to build it while you're flying it. That's okay. We can deal with that. But make sure that the first few weeks are ready for you so that you don't have to be messing with things there in the very beginning, but you can develop as you go. One last thing that we expect from you, and that is growth in your skill and craft of teaching online. Many of you have taught physically for years, but this teaching online is sometimes new and sometimes even a little bit uncomfortable. So we provide as much of the skills and the crafts to improve you in your teaching, not improve you, you're fine, but this is a special art, and we want you to do the best that you can for our students. So we're going to provide that training for you to help you do that. I mentioned the CDI newsletter, CBU Next. We also have a couple of podcasts that we're pretty proud of. The Lasallian Way Online, by the way, this is a little bit of a thumb in our suspenders moment. It was recently featured in a list of the top 10 student-centered online podcasts for education. That's pretty cool. So the Lasallian Way Online, you can see that from our website or, and I believe, any other podcast delivery mechanism that you may subscribe to. Also, we have every month something that we call the Community of Inquiry, the COI. The Community of Inquiry is an inward facing. Lasallian Way Online is outward facing, so anybody can get to that. But the Community of Inquiry is inward, and this is designed so that we get together with our faculty, with all the faculty, and we pose questions like, for instance, we talked about ChatGPT. One time we talked about how to get your course clean. We've talked about, once we talked about WebEx, and then we talked about the transition into Teams. So look for the Community of Inquiry and participate in that. We'd love to have you leave your videos on, and we talk and we share ideas. Sometimes we've just shared some ideas that may help you improve your teaching. We also have this webpage that we just mentioned, the cbudigital.org. Check that out. There's a lot of really good information. That was born out of COVID, right in the middle of COVID. And we developed this website. There's a lot of good tools in there. check it out. You can always contact us at cdi@cbu.edu or extension 4004. And I should add there, Global College at cbu.edu as well. Now we have some semester startup suggestions. Well, I just talked about, oh no, S23-preps, cbudigital.org, S23-preps. Check that out. And then there is a way to do batch changing of dates, and the CDI team, the instructional designers, can help you with that. So that's my presentation. I'm going to quit sharing my screen. And you all can turn your videos on if you want. Does anybody have any questions, any ideas, thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, this is Ravi. I have a question about e-wallet. And again, I'm not
Yes.
asking for a solution, but if someone can email or put it in the chat box on how faculty can, I've flipped between using the various digital PDFs, and it's been a little bit since I used a traditional, a prescribed textbook that I used to have students buy it, but e-wallet is again, should be the way to go, and would appreciate some instruction on e-wallet access for the faculty.
Okay. Yeah, we can provide that information for you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, I see the hand. James McGuffey.
Yes, I had a question I asked in chat, and I think the team all acknowledged it. It's about a gradebook in Canvas, how to set up non-standard formats. For example, a class I want to have 850 points total, 765 to 850 being an A, and because the grade class is arranged for B plus and B, how would I go about doing that? And then this will be a follow-up too.
Good.
I just wanted to get that question out there.
Excellent. Thanks, James. The IDs, if you would, one of you, please get in contact with James. That's a great question, James. I know it can be done, and one of them will be in contact with you. Kim.
Yes. So you mentioned about the OCD recommended online design. Do you have dates for that course?
Yeah, it just started for the summer. Have we set the dates, guys, for fall?
Yes, it starts August, hold on, I have it right here, August 28th until December 1st. And Lorene dropped the sign up form in the chat for OCD, the next
Nope,
OCD.
that's
Nope.
the wrong one. That's the wrong sign up form.
Okay.
Oh, that's our old one? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Oops.
Kimberly, we'll shoot that out to you.
Yeah.
And you're in
Okay.
OFT right now, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
They will share that with you before you get done with the OFT.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Rick, I see that hand.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so some of my activities are students submit their assignments and they all go into their grade section and all those things. But after the semester's over with, is there any way I can keep those assignments that have been submitted? Because I've just found out the State Department's going to come in from the Department of Education, and they want to see some of the assignments that we've kept and how we've scored those things. Is there some place that we could save those things for each semester?
Yes, sir. There's a couple of steps that we would need to do, but it's not difficult, and the CDI team can work with you individually on that. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. You might want to contact Cynthia Mitchell, Alexander Mitchell, and tell her and get her to go over there and get trained so she could train us, or I'll be happy to come over there and do that and sit in there with you all sometimes, because we can't just lose those assignments. They have to be down there because we have rubrics and how the standards are aligned and all that, and we've got to make sure that we cross every T and dot every I.
Yes, sir. Totally
All right, thank you.
understand. Yep, you bet.
Bye, guys. FBI's on. That's one thing I see all the time. I gotta go.
See, Rick.
Good
Okay,
job. Love it.
thank you. Folks, thank you for showing up tonight. We appreciate it. If you have any questions that may show up later, come to mind, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us individually, or you can send an email directly to either CDI or Global College, and I promise one of us will be in contact with you very quickly.
Thank you
All
all so
right.
much for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.